When everything falls apart, when the weight of the world seems to collapse onto your shoulders, you find yourself standing in the ruins of what once felt safe, familiar, and whole. It may be the loss of someone you love, the sudden shattering of dreams you worked for, or the quiet but heavy ache of a future that no longer looks like the one you once imagined. In these moments, the air feels thicker, time moves slower, and even the simplest of actions, waking up, taking a breath, continuing on, can feel like mountains to climb. You know this feeling, that silent heaviness pressing against your chest, the quiet confusion that whispers, "Why me? Why now? How can I move forward when the ground beneath me has given way?" In such moments, life feels like a storm that has torn away the walls of your shelter, leaving you exposed to the wind and the rain. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still standing, though perhaps trembling, still alive, though perhaps weary. It is in these moments that philosophy, especially the ancient teachings of the Stoics, offers not quick solutions, not easy promises, but a lantern to hold in the darkness. The Stoics never denied that life could be harsh, unfair, and filled with suffering. They did not tell you to pretend that pain does not exist or that loss is an illusion. Instead, they spoke to the heart of reality. Life is fragile, and we are often powerless against the storms that sweep through it. But within that powerlessness lies a strange, liberating truth. You cannot control the storm, but you can choose how you meet it. Marcus Aurelius, a man who carried the weight of an empire and yet wrote privately to himself to stay steady, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." His words are not a dismissal of pain, but a gentle reminder that even when everything around you crumbles, there remains within you a space that is untouched, a space that can become a refuge if you learn to return to it. Close your eyes for a moment if you wish. Feel the rhythm of your own breathing, steady and unbroken. Inhale and exhale. Notice that even here, in the chaos of your circumstances, your breath continues. This simple act, this quiet proof of life, is a reminder. You are still here. The storm has not taken everything. It cannot take this breath. It cannot take your ability to turn inward, to seek a calm that the outside world cannot grant. The Stoics would tell you that suffering is not the end, but the beginning of understanding. That hardship is not a curse, but the truest teacher. Seneca, who endured exile, political chaos, and the constant threat of death, once reflected, "Fire tests gold, suffering tests brave men." Pain, in this light, is not meaningless. It becomes the forge in which your strength is shaped, the soil from which resilience can grow. And yet, it is not enough to hear these words. You must allow them to breathe inside you. Think of the ruins you may be standing in now, whatever form they take in your life. Imagine them not only as endings, but as ground cleared for something new. The storm that tears down the branches also lets sunlight reach the soil. The flood that washes away what you once built also leaves the earth ready for renewal. You may not feel ready for that renewal now, and that is all right. The Stoics never demanded that you feel unbroken in the midst of breaking. They knew that grief has its weight, that pain needs its space. What they ask instead is simple. Do not lose yourself completely to despair. Do not give the storm more power than it already has. In these quiet moments of reflection, notice how your pain is real, but also how your awareness of it creates distance. You are not the pain itself. You are the observer of it. You are the one noticing, "I hurt, I grieve, I am lost." And in that noticing, in that small step back, you find a sliver of freedom. Epictetus, who was born a slave and endured chains upon his body, taught a truth that resonates still. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Life may strip you of possessions, relationships, titles, or dreams. It may leave you raw and aching. But even then, the one thing it cannot take from you is your power to choose, how to see, how to respond, how to begin again. Imagine the storm still raging around you, the ruins still scattered at your feet, and yet within, a small light flickers. This light is not grand, not blinding. It is soft, quiet, but it is enough to guide you through the darkness one step at a time. This is where resilience begins, not with grand acts of strength, but with small acts of courage repeated in silence, choosing to breathe, choosing to endure one more day, choosing not to surrender completely to despair. As you sit with these thoughts, let the imagery settle within you. Storms and ruins, rivers swelling and receding, a sunrise after the longest night. These are not only metaphors, they are reminders from nature itself that cycles of destruction and renewal are inseparable. You are part of that cycle. The fact that you are listening, reflecting, seeking calm is proof that even in the midst of collapse, you are already leaning toward renewal. When everything falls apart, the Stoic path does not promise escape from suffering. What it offers is guidance through it. It offers you a steady hand, a quiet voice reminding you that though the world may seem broken, your inner compass remains. And if you can learn to hold to that compass, you will not be lost. Pause here for a moment. Let the silence rest with you. The journey we are beginning together will not rush. We will move slowly, gently, as one does when walking through ruins after a storm, careful where we step, noticing what remains, and finding beauty, even in brokenness. This is the beginning of learning resilience, not as a distant ideal, but as a lived experience, moment by moment, breath by breath. When everything around you feels fragile, when the ground beneath your feet has shifted so suddenly that nothing feels steady anymore, the question naturally arises: what, if anything, is within my control? It is in moments like these that the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius speaks most clearly. A man who bore the crown of an empire, who commanded armies, judged disputes, and faced betrayals, sickness, and the death of those dearest to him, found his refuge not in the vast reach of his power, but in the quiet acceptance of what he could not change. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. These words, written in his private journal, remind us that even an emperor could not bend the world to his will. He could not stop wars from breaking out, or plagues from sweeping through cities, or loved ones from dying. What he could control, however, was the way he met those storms. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Think of the things you wish you could change right now, the people you long to bring back, the past you wish had unfolded differently, the circumstances that feel cruel and undeserved. Hold them in your mind and notice how heavy they feel when you cling to them. Notice the way the weight increases when you try to wrestle with realities that cannot be undone. Marcus would ask you to imagine letting go of that struggle, not out of weakness, not because it does not matter, but because fighting against the unchangeable is a battle you can never win. He would remind you that peace comes, not by controlling the storm, but by controlling your response to it. Acceptance in the Stoic sense is not passive resignation. It is not pretending that pain is pleasant or convincing yourself that tragedy is good. It is instead the quiet courage of saying, "This is what life has given me. I did not choose it, I did not want it, but here it is. And since it is here, I will meet it with dignity, not despair." Marcus himself endured devastating losses. He buried children. He faced betrayal from those closest to him. He led Rome through plague and through war. Yet in the midst of all of this, he wrote to himself, not to the world, but to his own heart. If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment of it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. Pause here with that thought. Let it sink into you like water soaking into the soil. It is not the event itself, not the raw fact of what has happened, that breaks you. It is the meaning you give to it, the way you carry it within your mind. If you tell yourself that this loss is unbearable, then it becomes unbearable. If you tell yourself that life is over because of this collapse, then life closes in around you. But if you tell yourself, quietly, gently, that though this pain is deep, you are still breathing, still capable of enduring, still able to choose your response, then a small space of freedom opens within you. Think of the river after a flood. The waters rage. They carry away homes, trees, and soil. You cannot stop the river. You cannot push against its current with your bare hands. But what you can do is choose where you will stand. You can choose not to drown in its pull, but to wait upon the shore, watching as the waters recede, knowing that in time the river will calm. This is what Marcus teaches, that the storms of life are not yours to command, but your own thoughts, your judgments, your choices are always within reach. Let us reflect on how this truth applies to you now. What pain are you holding that comes not only from the event itself, but from your resistance to it? What part of your suffering comes from wishing the past were different, or demanding that the world be other than it is? Allow yourself to ask these questions, not harshly, but gently, as if you are speaking to a wounded friend. Because in truth, that is what you are doing. You are speaking to yourself, the part of you that longs for peace in the midst of turmoil. Marcus knew that even the emperor's crown could not shield him from life's blows. He wrote not as a man above suffering, but as a man within it, reminding himself again and again to return to what he could control. His writings were not meant for others, yet they remain centuries later, as if he is whispering across time. Do not waste your life fighting shadows. Anchor yourself in the one place where peace can be found, within your own mind. Take a slow breath now. Inhale deeply. Exhale softly. With each breath, imagine yourself releasing what you cannot change, the past, the losses, the uncontrollable waves of fate. And with each inhale, imagine drawing strength from the one thing you do control, the way you meet this moment, the dignity you carry, the choice to endure. Acceptance does not mean you stop feeling. You will still grieve. You will still ache. But in accepting reality, you stop fighting with it. And in that stopping, you save your strength, not to deny your pain, but to walk with it, to carry it without letting it crush you. Picture again the ruins you may stand among. Broken walls, shattered fragments, scattered remains of what once was whole. Notice, though, that even here sunlight filters through. Even here small plants begin to push their way through cracks in the stone. Life does not end with collapse. It finds a way forward, quietly, persistently, patiently, and so can you. As Marcus once wrote, do not look around at the darkness of others, but look straight ahead at your own path. Your path may feel hidden now, overgrown and uncertain, but step by step, breath by breath, it will emerge. The storm may rage outside, but within you remains a stillness that nothing can take away. This is the gift Marcus Aurelius left us, the reminder that even when everything falls apart, there is one place where you are always free. There is a truth about suffering that we often forget in the midst of it. Hardship is not a stranger. Pain is not an unexpected guest. From the moment we are born, we walk in a world where loss and change are inevitable. And yet, when they arrive, we feel shocked, as though life has betrayed us. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher and statesman, spoke often about this. His life was filled with danger, exile, political conflict, and constant threats to his survival. And still, he wrote with a voice both tender and unflinching. He reminded us not to be surprised when hardships come. He wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Think about that for a moment. How often do you find yourself anticipating pain, rehearsing it in your mind, magnifying it until it becomes larger than life itself? The blow that reality delivers is heavy, yes, but the blows we deal to ourselves in imagination, fear, anxiety, dread, these are heavier still. Seneca encourages us to see life for what it is, unpredictable, often harsh, but never beyond the endurance of a human heart. He also offered this reminder: fire tests gold, suffering tests brave men. Hardship is not only a punishment, but a trial, a refining process. Imagine gold placed into the fire. It does not emerge weaker, but purer. So too with your spirit. When storms arrive, when losses break through, they do not mean the end of your strength. They are the very conditions in which your strength is revealed. Consider the resilience you have already shown. Think back to times in your past when you felt certain you could not endure. Yet here you are, listening now, still alive, still breathing. You may have forgotten how strong you were then, but Seneca would ask you to remember. The fact that you stand here today is proof that resilience is not a distant ideal, but something already alive within you. And yet, Seneca does not stop at remembering. He teaches preparation, not a grim obsession with worst-case scenarios, but a calm readiness for life's unpredictability. He wrote, "What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster." In other words, the hardest blows are not always the heaviest, but the ones we never thought to prepare for. So how do we prepare? By reminding ourselves daily that life is fragile, that nothing we love is guaranteed to remain forever, that change, loss, and endings are not rare exceptions, but the fabric of existence itself. At first, this may sound cold, even cruel, but to the Stoics, it was the opposite. It was an invitation to love more deeply, to live more fully, because every moment is recognized as precious and fleeting. Imagine looking at the people you love, not with the assumption that they will always be there, but with the awareness that their presence is a gift. Imagine holding your dreams, not with the belief that they are permanent, but with gratitude for the chance to pursue them, even if they change. This perspective does not harden you. It softens you. It teaches you to cherish what is here, while also standing ready to endure its loss when the time comes. Seneca often reminded himself of death, not to darken his days, but to brighten them. Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. What he meant was simple. Do not wait to live. Do not wait to love. Do not wait to be grateful, because tomorrow is never promised. Think of the storm that may have swept through your life, the collapse that left you searching for steady ground. Notice how your heart still beats, how your breath still flows. This is proof that even in the midst of hardship, you remain capable of renewal. Resilience to Seneca was not about never feeling pain. It was about meeting pain with readiness, with acceptance, with the calm knowledge that you were always strong enough to face what life placed before you. He believed that those who spend their lives fearing hardship suffer twice, once in imagination and once in reality. But those who accept hardship as part of life suffer only once, and often suffer less. Think of yourself now as a tree in a storm. The wind howls, the rain lashes, branches bend and creak. Some may break, but the roots hold firm. Your roots are your inner strength, your ability to breathe, to reflect, to endure. The storm may change your shape, may strip your leaves, but it cannot uproot you unless you surrender. And here lies Seneca's quiet wisdom. Hardship is not the enemy. It is the soil in which resilience grows. It is the night that makes the sunrise beautiful. It is the fire that reveals the gold within you. So when everything falls apart, remember Seneca's lesson. Do not wait for hardship to surprise you. Expect it, prepare for it, and when it arrives, meet it with the calm strength of one who already knew it was part of life's design. Take another breath. Feel the steadiness of this moment. Even if the storm continues around you, know that within you lies the capacity to endure. Seneca knew it, and you can know it too. Resilience is not a gift for the few. It is the nature of every human soul willing to face reality with courage. If Marcus Aurelius teaches us to focus on what is within our control, and Seneca shows us how to prepare for the blows of life with resilience, then Epictetus offers us perhaps the most direct and practical guidance of all. Born into slavery, Epictetus lived much of his life with chains upon his body. His master owned his labor, his time, even his freedom of movement. And yet, despite this, Epictetus discovered a truth so powerful that no chains could bind it. Freedom is not found in the outside world, but within the mind. He taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. At first glance, these words may seem simple, but when you sit with them, when you allow them to unfold in your own life, they become revolutionary. You cannot control whether storms come. You cannot control whether others hurt you, betray you, or leave. You cannot control whether illness arrives or fortune departs. But you can control how you see these events and how you respond to them. That choice, the choice of perception and response, is where your freedom lives. Think of something in your life that feels unbearable, something you wish had never happened. Notice how your mind has framed it, perhaps as a punishment, a cruelty, an injustice. Now imagine shifting that frame, not to deny the pain, but to ask, what can I learn from this? How can I grow because of this? What strength can I uncover in myself by facing this? Epictetus would remind you that pain is real, but suffering multiplies when you let your mind turn the wound into a story of despair. A broken event does not have to mean a broken spirit. The event is one thing. The meaning you give to it is another, and that meaning is yours to choose. He often drew a sharp line between what is up to us and what is not up to us. Up to us, our thoughts, our judgments, our actions, not up to us. The behavior of others, the turns of fortune, the outcomes of events. Confusion and misery begin when we try to control what is not ours or neglect what is. Imagine yourself carrying two baskets. One is filled with the things you can control, your choices, your perspective, your attitude, your effort. The other is filled with the things you cannot control, the past, the future, the decisions of others, the randomness of fate. Now imagine how heavy life becomes when you try to carry both. Epictetus would tell you, put down the second basket, carry only what is truly yours. That is where peace is found. And yet, he did not speak these truths from comfort. He spoke them as someone who had every reason to despair, who knew cruelty firsthand. His life was not a theory. It was a lived proof that freedom of mind can outshine even the harshest chains. Remember this, you are free in how you choose to see, free in how you choose to act. Even if the world feels broken, your inner freedom remains untouched. Think of the ruins again, the shattered stones around you. To one person, these ruins may be nothing but a symbol of loss, an end. To another, they may be the foundation for rebuilding, the beginning of something new. The stones are the same. The difference lies only in perception, and perception is yours to choose. Epictetus also warned of anger and blame. He said that when misfortune strikes, our first instinct is to point outward. This person harmed me. This event ruined me. This fate destroyed me. But if we stay there, we surrender our power. He asked us instead to turn inward and say, "This event has happened. How will I respond?" In that shift, blame dissolves and responsibility begins. Responsibility does not mean self-blame. It does not mean saying the tragedy was your fault. It means recognizing that while you cannot rewrite the event, you can write the story you tell yourself about it. You can decide whether this moment defines your collapse or your transformation. And perhaps the deepest teaching of Epictetus is this: no one can harm your soul without your permission. People may insult you, fate may wound you, fortune may abandon you, but unless you accept those wounds into your mind, they do not truly pierce you. He wrote, "Who is your master? He who has authority over any of the things on which you have set your heart." In other words, you are enslaved only by what you cling to. Release your grip, and you cannot be controlled. Let that thought breathe in you. Ask yourself, what have I clung to so tightly that its loss feels like the end of me? What if, instead of clinging, I learned to hold lightly, with gratitude while it is here, and acceptance when it is gone? This is not easy. Epictetus never said it was easy, but he insisted it was possible. And possibility is enough. It opens the door to freedom, even in the midst of chains. Picture the storm once more. Winds tearing through, rain pounding down, branches breaking. You cannot stop the storm, but you can choose where you stand in it. You can choose to let it uproot you, or you can let your roots sink deeper, your trunk bend but not break. That choice, always that choice, remains yours. So when everything falls apart, let Epictetus remind you, the event is not the end. The meaning you give it shapes its power. Your perception can turn chains into symbols of defeat or into symbols of unshakable freedom. That freedom is always within you, waiting for you to claim it. Take one last breath with me now. Inhale slowly, as though drawing strength from the air itself. Exhale gently, releasing what is not yours to carry. In this breath lies your freedom. In this breath lies your choice. In these moments of collapse, there is often a temptation to define ourselves solely by what we have lost. We look at the broken fragments of our lives and believe they are the sum of who we are. But the Stoics remind us that our essence is not contained in external things. It lives within our capacity to respond. The job, the relationship, the reputation, the wealth. These may vanish in a single instant, but the self that chooses how to face such vanishing remains untouched. What crumbles is not you, but the illusions you once clung to. Think of Marcus Aurelius, burdened by war, disease, and betrayal, yet writing to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These words are not distant history. They are medicine for today. For when everything around us burns, the fire does not consume us unless we invite it into our soul. We may be bruised, exhausted, grieving, but still, we remain free to decide what meaning the suffering will carry. Pain is not an enemy to be feared, but a teacher to be endured. It whispers truths that comfort often hides. It shows us that the ground beneath our feet was never as solid as we believed, that security was always a fragile illusion. Yet within this realization lies freedom. For if life is impermanent, then so too is despair. No night is endless, and no storm refuses to pass. To endure is not to deny the hurt, but to walk through it without surrendering your dignity. To cry, but not to collapse. To stumble, but still rise. It is in these quiet acts of resistance that resilience takes root. like a seed pushing through cracks of stone. And when you nurture that seed, you discover that what you thought was the end is in truth a beginning, the opening of a deeper, stronger self that only hardship could reveal. When everything falls apart, the first instinct is often to search for a way back, to rebuild what once was, to recover what was lost. But the deeper wisdom lies not in restoration, but in transformation. The Stoics remind us that change is not a thief. It is the nature of existence itself. To resist it is to fight the tide. To accept it is to learn to swim. What feels like ruin is, in truth, a clearing of the ground, making space for something new to emerge. We are not defined by our circumstances, but by the posture of our soul. In stillness, we learn that strength is not the absence of pain, but the presence of courage in its midst. We discover that peace is not found in perfect conditions, but in the calm we carry even as conditions collapse. And we realize that love, whether for life, for others, or for ourselves, does not vanish with loss. It becomes sharper, clearer, freed from illusion. So if you stand today in the ruins of what once was, do not despair. You are not broken. You are being reshaped. Each ending writes the first line of a new chapter. And though the ink of suffering may sting, the story it creates can still be one of beauty, dignity, and strength. The world may strip away much, but it cannot take away the choice to rise again. If these words have touched you, I invite you to reflect, to share your thoughts in the comments, to like this video if it offered even a moment of calm, and to subscribe if you wish to continue walking this path of wisdom together. Let this community be a reminder that no one endures alone. When everything falls apart, remember, what collapses is not the end of you. It is the opening of a horizon you have yet to walk, a horizon where resilience becomes your companion, and where every dawn, no matter how dark the night before, carries the promise of light.